me as I dive into this wild chess game where I missed the checkmate. Let's figure out why my opponent decided to give up instead. Missed opportunities in chess can lead to unexpected outcomes, and this game is a perfect example of that. I was playing a high-stakes game, and the tension was palpable as I navigated the complex positions on the board. My opponent and I were evenly matched, each of us trying to outmaneuver the other. The game was a real back and forth, with both of us creating threats and defending against each other's attacks. As the game wore on, the complexity of the position increased, making it harder to find the best moves. I was so focused on responding to my opponent's threats that I didn't even notice the checkmate opportunity staring me right in the face. My opponent had left their king exposed, and I had the perfect chance to deliver the final blow. The position was ripe for a checkmate, but I completely overlooked it, opting instead for a safer move that didn't put my opponent away. Looking back, I can see that I was too focused on controlling the center of the board and didn't take the time to think about the potential weaknesses in my opponent's position. My opponent, on the other hand, was fighting hard to stay in the game, trying to find any way to turn the tables and gain the upper hand. They were moving quickly, trying to put pressure on me and make me crack under the pressure. As the game continued, I started to feel a sense of unease, realizing that I had missed a golden opportunity to win the game. I was still in a good position, but I knew that my opponent could potentially capitalize on my mistake and launch a counterattack. I tried to regroup and refocus, thinking about how I could still win the game, but the damage was done. I had let my opponent off the hook, and they were still very much in the game. The thought processes behind our decisions were complex and multifaceted. I was thinking about how to balance my need to attack with my need to defend, while my opponent was trying to find a way to counter my attacks and create a weakness in my position. We were both trying to outguess each other, anticipating each other's moves and planning our responses accordingly. As I delved deeper into the game, I started to think about what could have been if I had taken the checkmate opportunity. Would the game have ended right there, or would my opponent have found a way to escape? I began to analyze the missed checkmate opportunity, thinking about what I could have done differently to capitalize on it. I realized that I had been too cautious, opting for a safer move instead of taking the risk and going for the win. My opponent, on the other hand, was probably thinking about how to survive the game, trying to find a way to equalize the position and gain a foothold. They were likely feeling the pressure, knowing that they had to act quickly to turn the game around. The moment when my opponent gave up was shocking. Despite the fact that I had missed the checkmate, they suddenly resigned, conceding the game without putting up much of a fight. It was a surprising turn of events, and I was left wondering what had gone through their mind in that moment. Had they realized that the game was lost, or were they simply exhausted from the intense battle we had been waging? The implications of their decision were significant, as it meant that I had won the game without having to face the possibility of a comeback. My opponent's resignation was likely influenced by their thought process, which had been focused on survival rather than victory. They had been trying to stay in the game, but eventually realized that it was futile. I had too much of an advantage, and they didn't see a way to turn the game around. In that moment, they probably felt a sense of relief, knowing that the pressure was off and they could finally relax. The game was a wild ride, full of twists and turns that kept me on the edge of my seat. As I look back on the game, I realized that the missed checkmate opportunity had been a turning point. If I had taken it, the game would have ended right there, but instead, it had continued, leading to a complex and thrilling conclusion. The lessons learned from this situation are clear. Chess is an unpredictable game, and strategic thinking is essential to success. Even when we think we have the upper hand, things can quickly turn around, and we must be prepared to adapt and respond to changing circumstances. Join the conversation. Have you ever missed a checkmate opportunity, only to have your opponent give up anyway? Share your stories in the comments below, and be sure to check out my other video on chess strategies for more tips and tricks to improve your game.